Okay, Sunday, October 2nd, 2016. I have Gray School's greatest short and sorted by the last 3 months with the greatest loser and edit. If scanned correctly, well, it should match up with the spreadsheet at Gray School at the Slack. Posted at the Slack. Okay, so here's edit. How I look at it is I did post earlier down in here that for a short term, it's running out of longs on here. And this possibility of a bounce on here. Daily charts and ADX 50. So usually when it cracks 50, it goes on to 60, and it's a persistent trend lower. Obviously, with this being in a healthcare, it's not holding up well in the sector. CROX, looks like there's actually buying going on here on the dip. Averaging down, I'll say. Metals, okay, I'm going to treat this as the second distribution, and that prices will head lower for now, coming off of the unbalanced volume here. So I'm treating this as that there'll be more continuation to the downside. These are log charts, so the trend line does matter. At best, it's sideways. Here's a sideways, broke out of that. Here's a new sideways, broke out of that. If it cracks 17, it should be precipitous down to about 12. This was interesting here. We're getting a crack of the ADX, but it may get a double hook on Sears. So I see some buying into Sears. I'm going to assume that this is going to be somewhat of store closings and cost savings there. The WBMD is getting to be oversold down here for a bounce. I just look at it as just a bounce in the bear trend. ANIK getting a swing to some new buyers here. Looks like it'll continue on. Use the cloud here, lower end of the cloud for resistance. SIG, that one's beginning to bottom out too. We're up to, says cyclicals. Okay, jewelers. It does look like short term that it's oversold and could move up here to the low 80s. Also use the cloud as resistance. IT, which I thought would be the best one of the group when we started in July, coming off the high. That was the one I thought would be the winner here. Short-term oversold here too. I did post that I liked the short side of TEX. TECS, let it come to you. Under 19, I think, is over 19, get long. These 3 times ETNs, I have people who want 50 cents, $1, $1.50, 2, 3, that kind of thing on 1,000 shares. So that's how I post those. Some people are looking for that decade move of 900% or more, but I'll only move as far as 3 years forward. Okay, look, that, well, I guess I suppose with the real estate cycle, that's an 18-year cycle, so I'm good to 2024 on that one, so. Oh. Okay, EROS. Looks like continuation of the selling here. Looks like a shot at 13 here. ADX and that beginning to turn up. Series of lower highs here. Deutsche Bank, my stance on Deutsche Bank is that when we did the stress test is in that, I think it was in the top 3. This is what happens. This fundamentals versus technicals. All right. I like it, right? Okay, so You have a big volume day. I posted, guess who's not in Deutsche Bank? And then the follow through here. Okay, basically paused at pivot. I wouldn't mind seeing it follow through. Today's Sunday, I think Briggs at their article 50, whatever. The other way I'm looking at this too is I've talked about 106, 108 euro to the dollar. Okay. So that should help out the situation here too. Also, the Swiss bank is intervening. I like the short side of the Swiss franc, short side of the euro, long side of the dollar, short side of metals. Oil holding 47 should help out the Federal Reserve with raising interest rates. My targets, I said some videos back, odds 47, 49, 51, 53, and 54. Once we get to 54, then they'll start bringing out the $60 people. And if by chance you get to 60, some sort of non-market related spike, then the 75 people will come out. But for now, 47 is the key for the bulls in oil. But on Deutsche Bank, anything more that comes down for whatever reason, I'd be interested. This is enough volume here to tell me that people, the wrong people, have finally gotten out of it. I remember back in the 90s, we had a 10-year bear market in oil. So basically it took 10 years before we got the last bull out of oil. I think Exxon or whatever was the stock. And then it traded higher. So this has been going down for a serious amount of time here. And we finally may have cleaned out all the longs. Pretty good move here on Friday. I wrote about that the fix was in. This is our fix. But I'm standing by my calls for late November here. I just didn't like what I was seeing overall in the general market. This is June 20th when I started getting nervous. It's not that it could be macroeconomic or whatever. It's just the people flipping equity stock. I didn't like what I was seeing. So my two schools here is that the rest of the stocks that haven't peaked in the last 3 years or longer join in the rollover because of indexing. The money keeps rolling into the winners, right? Add to winners. The indexes are loaded with winners, self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, you have things like Amazon, right? The first bad news for Amazon is going to be bad news for Amazon. Same thing with Apple. Apple, I think, jumped the shark. It peaked 2015. IBM peaked in 2013. We're just waiting for, to me, I'm just waiting for the rest of the market to catch up. Deutsche Bank. Okay, next page. SHLD. That's a pretty good volume bar. These are volume bars, volume candles. Basically, a lot of, it did get to be oversold, and that's why you're getting the chop. I'd fade any rally here. Stay in the short side. Tesla, like Tesla overall, working on some sort of triangle here. Okay, but it can be susceptible, just like everything else, to the market, just like I mentioned, Amazon. FOSL, chop, chop, chop. Looks like it's going to continue to roll over here. Looks like distribution. Exploration for oil, energy, yeah, okay, so it's going to have, it has a positive bias here. I don't look at it as a secular, just a, what do you call that? Just a counter cycle and a bear trend. This is just basically the bounce off of 26 for oil. Everything, you know, it's like two oscillators trying to time up to time to sync. So remember, you know, some companies, when you pick up the phone, the phone number might be dead. So we're having fewer and fewer players. So whatever money was left gets spread out between them. We're seeing capitalism or free enterprise here. work its magic. Stone Energy sideways here. I'll pass. TLT, this one was mine for the short side. I wanted the short side of I think it's 2 years, but I forgot that this is a short contest. So I found the TLT, and perfect, right? It doesn't have a lot of beta, and I don't have much alpha. But the on-balance volume is pretty high, and this is going to be, it'll continue lower. What do I have? There's November. We'll try for 130 in November here. November, December here. If oil continues to go higher, I'm sure that, we're getting inflation. Look at that oil that's going to filter through. Higher prices for everything. Squash. Somewhat of it's a joke, but whatever. We play our games. They play theirs. All right. Staples, I'll pass here. I guess that would be 10%, huh? All right, pass on that one. HRB, H&R Block. I'll pass on that. That doesn't look healthy at all. Looks like more distribution. Oof, this is a good one. Who's this one? SPY. Oh, well, that one looks like a bear flag. Ooh, what's this one? What's this one? Oh, that's SPY. Yeah, how many times a day? How many? Yeah, okay. All right, looks like a bear flag. Definitely have some fat bars in here. Volatility, usually you get a pickup here in whippiness. The NASDAQ did poke its nose up here. I believe there's a gap in here. There's lots of, what you need is the growth side of things, and a 1.4 GDP is fine. But, to get this to work here, you need people to go out and start buying homes. We've done a pretty good job on autos. So we need homes are next. So they're going to start talking about that it's cheaper to buy a home. Plus you get your cap gains. Yada. Remember inflation now. We have inflation. All right. JCPenney's, nah, no bueno. This looks sideways here. Nice swings, but sideways. Looks like sideways. Valero, that one looks like it's going to continue to come down. I'd fade this, fade any rally in Valero. Chipotle, oh, what an awesome top on there. I still believe that the tainted food was brought in, if you catch my drift. Back in '89, the Minnesota Vikings were going to play Green Bay and just wallop them, and their sandwiches were rancid on the plane, and they all got the flu, and that was brought in too. I won't say who. Okay, follow the money. What the hell was the year we're supposed to win the Super Bowl? All right. Chipotle, 2 CEOs, come on. All right. Fade any rally, really. Chipotle reminds me of Arthur Treacher's here. You know what I'm saying? Volkswagen. Sideways, but they'll pull it out. They always do. The Germans and the Japanese pull it out. They can work it on their balance sheet too. Netflix looks like maybe one more swing higher here. I'm on my first month of having Netflix. I did the Hulu thing, but I'm not. I go for things that entertainment in my mind is fed up, or something that rhymes with PBS. I don't know. That's my intellectual stimulation here. Getting stupid. Well, that's what I do when I leave the palatial estate. Come out of my shell. All right. Yeah, Netflix looks like another swing higher here. Oh, can we talk about staycations? Ooh, staycations. Tree fading rally here. Well, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, ABC. Oh, hold it. Financial. Okay, I want to buy any of these financials, not as much as insurance on any weakness. The banks, shake the bank tree I wanted. Because in theory, if the cycles do hold, the larger macro, we're on the upswing in housing. We're on the part that new homes begin to stick. But we will face the burden of existing real estate coming from the boomers, as either the children get it or the children are already there. That's where I see the inflation coming from, all the boomers passing on their wealth and the kids going, yeah, insanity. And then it's like, oh, student debt, that burden overhang here. But we're basically paralleling the 1930s after the Great Depression. Pretty much sledgehammered everything. And they can talk all they want, but until you work on bottom up, trickle down's not going to work here. The Fed, though, is doing their dual mandate perfectly. Low inflation and full employment, though that's an understatement, right? Couch jockeys. It is beginning to wane here. I should look at a weekly, but I would probably lean more towards like regional banks and stuff on any pullback. Same thing here, bear flag, little bear flag on a day and continue lower. We shall see, though, because of oil does get sticky and they can use the word inflation. They can tout gold. And remember, if the dollar does pick up because of quote-unquote inflation, it's going to make gold and foreign currencies look pretty, because those currencies, oh, the euro's dropping, have to buy gold. Jack in the box, pretty good angle here of ascent. Double top though here. Usually what this is a kind of a springboard, but if it stalls out, then you have the total rollover here. IRAS. That looks like a lot of distribution here. It's a lot of distribution. Same thing again. Was this financial cyclicals? Finish line. Finish line. Okay, this is actually holding up quite well for retail, but retail is kind of beginning to show that things may be kind of soft here in holiday season. Usually retail bottoms out in August. MACK, this one's been popping up every once in a while. It's still getting follow through here. I'm not sure what the short interest is. You can see that it was oversold down here. Short interest is, but that may be the game here, is short interest compared to top line. Flow, machinery looks decent here as a breakout. Watch for the failure. Okay. If there's a failure, then it would swoon through the other side. It still looks like there's more room to run chasing after this here. Apple, like I said, peaked some time back. Okay, you can see the oversold here. And then I'm just treating this as a bounce. You can see the unbalanced volume up here with this peak. We got close. There can be more room to run here on here, but it would have to clear the 119, 121 area to work off the neckline on the way down here. But I'll pass. I think you can go back and look at Microsoft and Sony and stuff after their huge runs. Not interest. I would be interested in shorting back up in here again. BlackBerry still has some room to run here, but I don't know by how much. It is a large sideways here. It's kind of pressed up against it. So watch for the breakout and failure. The jab to sorrow. Okay, the bodies are in this thing. It's holding up well. Healthcare and pharmaceuticals. But there are a lot of bodies in there now. This looks like a special situation. Fit. Cyclicals, recreation. It looks a little on the soft side. It came down, and now we're basically chopping sideways. That's usually a continuation pattern. Yeah, you have bodies in here. Wash this thing out. Verisign, what an awesome short that was. I'll pass here. They're gonna have issues. They have debt issues and all that other fun stuff. Yeah, they're gonna need to sell off their stuff. That's how I look at it. Yeah, this is came down here. It looks like a continuation lower. I can't really treat this as a basing pattern. It would need more time. Best Buy, a lot of bodies in there. Dick's Sporting Goods. Looks like this is finally finding some overhead resistance here. Five Prime Therapeutics still marching on, but a lot of bodies in there. This is susceptible to a pullback, fade any rally. That's what I would do here. Lumber Liquidators just keeps marching on. New bodies are in there. Okay, now swing higher. You know, this whatever your saucer and cup and handle BS. You know, I'll pass. Possible double top on here, but there's still more bodies can run in here. Give it some more swing. Does that do that right? Yeah. AMD bodies are definitely buying the dip, and they're in it too. Oh, that's right. They're chasing after the chips. So what are chips? SOX, SX. I'll look at that one, but I'm sure that one would be interested in too. You are getting some mergers and chips and stuff here. GRUB looks like it's stalled here. You play the short side of GRUB. And Chesapeake, lawsuits, all that fun stuff. I just want to avoid it. You know, if you want to flip it, that's fine, but it's not my cup of tea. I'd rather buy oil and natural gas, that kind of thing. Natural gas, I'd like to see another 20-cent drop. In the 280 range would be awesome. Watt, telecom, part of that. Okay, part of that segment, telecom's been pretty strong for a while here. The old cup and handle thing going on here. GoPro, I wonder if this is going to be like the Taser, you know, or all of a sudden all the cops have GoPro cameras on them, what have you. But I'm sure this is playing out the same way Taser did. And, right, okay, you can see the unbalanced falling low. We do have a high up here, but I think you have a decent amount of short sellers in there. So there you have it. That's the Gray School sorted by quarterly, by the greatest loser for this Sunday, October 2nd, 2016. Have yourself a rest of a wonderful weekend, and see you all tonight for the futures opening. Toodles.